In this class, we discuss a very important topic, matrix representation of operators and vectors. So first we will consider matrix representation of operators. So here we have to consider how operators and vectors are represented in terms of matrices. Okay, I am starting with operators. So we have, let's assume that we have an n-dimensional vector space for a system, and operator x is acting on this n-dimensional vector space, and this vector space has a basis. Let us say ket A prime. Okay, it's a basis for the n-dimensional space. So there are n such. When we say basis, then it means that the basis vectors, number of basis vectors is equal to the dimension of the vector space. It should be a complete set. So there are n vectors here. Ket, let us say ket 1 prime, ket 2 prime, etc. up to ket n prime. Okay. So what we want to do is this operator. How do we represent this operator in this given basis? That is the idea. So this is a complete set. So how do we write the completeness condition of the basis? Summation over A prime, ket A prime, okay, bra vector A prime equal to identity operator. This is the completeness condition of this basis. Okay. So now what I am going to do is I am writing here on either side of the operator x, I am writing identity operator. Okay, and I am going to use the completeness condition of this basis twice, here as well as here. Okay, on the first side, summation over A prime, this one, ket A prime, bra vector A prime. Okay, instead of this identity. Then you have the operator x here. Okay. Then for the next identity, I have to repeat the same thing. But when we repeat it, let us use a different index. So after all, this is a dummy index. Instead of A prime, we can also use any other symbol. So let me use A double prime. So ket A double prime, bra vector A double prime. Okay, so this and this represent the same basis set. Only thing is that I have used a different index in the next in the right side. That's all. So let me write the two summations together. Summation over A prime, summation over A double prime. Then we have ket A prime, and this part is you have bra vector A prime, then x. Then we have ket A double prime, and finally bra vector A double prime. Okay. Now here, let us look at this scalar. Okay, it's a scalar, right? Because when operator x acts on a base vector, you get a modified base vector. Then you are taking inner product with one base vector and this modified base vector. So inner product between two vectors will give you a scalar. Okay, so this is a scalar. And how many such scalars are there? See, the A prime is the base vector, A double prime is also the base vector. Only two different notations are used. So how many base vectors are there? We are in an n-dimensional vector space, so n base vectors are there. So there are n terms here, there are n terms here. But these notations are independent of each other. That means if you choose the first base vector here, then this here on the right side, the ket side, the base vector can vary from 1 to n. So for the first base vector, bra vector 1, you can have ket vector varying from 1, ket 2, ket 3 up to ket n. So there are n terms. Then you take the next bra vector, next base vector as the bra vector, that is bra vector 2. Here also the ket vector can vary from 1 to n. So there are again n terms. So for each base vector in the bra vector side, you can have n kets, n base vectors on the ket side. Okay, so n into n, there will be n square terms here. N square. N square terms. Okay. Now what I am going to do is I am going to write these n square terms as an n by n matrix. We know that n by n matrix with n rows and n columns, has n square terms. Okay, so let us write these scalars as an n by n matrix. So when I write such a matrix, okay, I am using this type of a notation for rows and columns. Okay, each element will be in this form, right? Okay, so for the convenience of writing in the matrix form, instead of a prime and a double prime, let me use another indexing like this: a I x a j. Okay, this I can vary from 1 to n, j can vary from 1 to n. So something like a1 x a1, a1 x a2, like that. Okay. Now here this bra vector side, this base vector appearing on the bra vector side, its index represents the row index. For the base vector appearing on the ket vector side, its index j represents column index. Okay, so I am going to use this type of an indexing. So the first, the bra vector represents the row index, ket vector represents the column index, and this will be a matrix element. Okay, this we can call a matrix element of an operator in the given basis. Matrix element of x in the basis ket a prime. Okay, so in the given basis, the matrix element of the operator can be written like this, and let us see now what is the matrix, complete matrix representation. Okay, and let's try to understand the meaning of each matrix element. Operator x, when I write equals, it just means that is represented by. Okay, so it is, operator x is represented by this matrix. Let me, okay, now instead of this a prime, a double prime, I am slightly altering it. I am using superscripts. Okay, like this. So the first term is a1 x a1. Okay, first row, first column. Okay, this is row index, this is column index. So let us write the okay, we can write the, we can write it in column form maybe. So let us look at the next row. Okay, first element of the next row. So the row index will change. So this will be a2 x a1. Okay, like that. And let me write the ith row here. So ai x a1. This is ith row, and this is the nth row, an x a1. So this is the first column. Okay, you can see that our first the bra vector is represents the row index, first row, second row, third row, ith row. Okay, so we need this generic ith row. We need, so that's why I am writing it, ith row, and finally nth row. Okay, and the column index remains same, a1. Okay, let us write the second column now. So the first row, second column. So we have a1 x a2, then second row. Okay, so this is the second column. Now the second row, a2 x a2. Okay, this is the row index. We are going to the second row, and but the column remains the same, second column. And in the ith row we have ai, this is I. Okay, ai x a2, etc. In the nth row an x a2. Okay, so this can go on. We can go to third column, fourth column, etc. Now here, let me consider jth column. Okay, jth column. So the first row, jth column, a1 x aj. Second row, jth column, a2 x aj, etc. Ith row, jth column, ai x aj, etc. Now nth row, jth column, an x aj. Okay, so we considered jth column, and how many columns will be there? The second ket vector, how many ket vectors are there? Ours is an n-dimensional vector space, so n kets will be there in the base set. So we need to go up to nth column. So first row, nth column, a1 x an. Okay. Then second row, nth column, a2 x an, etc. Ith row, nth column, ai x an, and finally nth row, nth column, an x an. Okay, this is our n by n matrix with n rows and n columns. Okay, so this we can see each matrix element, and this is the representation of this operator by a matrix. So an operator is represented by a square matrix in a vector space in a given basis. Okay. Now let us understand the meaning of these matrix elements. Let us look at the first column. Okay. Here, see the first column. What is the ket here? A1. See, the column index is ket A1. So what is happening here? The operator x is acting on the base vector A1, right? See, x is acting on the base vector A1. So when an operator acts on a vector, whether it can be a general vector or it can be a base vector, whatever, when an operator acts on a vector, in general the vector will change. So we get a modified base vector here. Okay. And so this is a modified base vector, x times a1, or x acting on a1, we get a modified base vector. And this is the what we are doing here, we are taking the inner product of this modified base vector with a1. Okay, inner product between the this base vector a1 and the modified base vector. So what do you get? When you take the inner product between a base vector and another vector, see I dot a. Consider the general vector A. You can expand it as axi plus ayj plus azk in a three-dimensional physical space. What is I dot a? I dot a is ax. So what is it? I dot a is what you get is when you take the scalar product between a base vector I and the general vector A, what you get is the component of A along the direction of the base vector. That is ax. I dot a is ax. So when you take the inner product between a base vector and another vector, it can be whatever, what you get is the component of this vector along the direction A1. So what you get here is the component of xa1, that is modified base vector along the direction A1. What is the next one? Again you have this modified base vector, okay, this one xa1, and what you get is component of xa1 along the direction A2. Okay, component of xa1 along the direction, see here also, component of xa1 along the direction A2, etc. So next you get component of xa1 along the direction A3, component of xa1 along the direction A4, component of xa1 along the direction AI. Similar, finally, component of xa1 along the direction AN. So the first column represents the components of the modified base vector A1 Okay, that means the base vector a1 acted upon by the operator x. We get the modified base vector. The first column represents the we can say the components of x a1. Okay, in the given basis a1, a2, a3 up to a. Okay. In other words, we can say that the first column represents the action of the operator x on the base vector a1. Okay, x a1. We get the different components of x a1. Now consider the second column. See, the x is acting on the next base vector x a2, and this is the first component of x a2. This is the second component of x a2. Ith component of xa2, nth component of xa2. So the second column represents the action of the operator x on the second base vector, and we get the components of this modified base vector, n components of the modified base vector. This is the jth column. So jth column represents the components of, the action of operator x on the jth base vector. Okay. And we get the components of the modified base vector aj. After x is acting on aj, we get the modified base vector, and we get the n components of the modified base vector. And the last column represents the action of the operator on the nth base vector, and we get the different n components of the modified base vector. So each column in the matrix representation of the operator in a given basis, each column represents the action of the operator on a given base vector. First column represents the action of the operator on the first base vector x a1, on the first base vector a1. So x a1. So we get the different components of this modified base vector, n components of the modified base vector a1. Second column represents the action of the operator on the second base vector a2. We get xa2 is the modified base vector, and we get the n components of this modified base vector like that. So we can understand this matrix representation of x column wise. Okay. Now let us try to understand what is the meaning of taking Hermitian adjoint of an operator. Okay. We have seen if there is an operator x dagger is the Hermitian adjoint. That is the notation. What is the meaning of that, or what is the meaning in terms of matrix representation? Let us see. See, if we have an operator x, okay, what is the matrix element of this operator in a given basis? We have seen this a prime x a double prime. Okay, this is the matrix element in a given basis. Now let us try to rewrite this equation. This is a scalar. Okay, let us try to rearrange it something like this. We can write this as this operator is acting on the from left to right on the ket vector, right? So we can write this as a prime. I am taking this operator inside the ket. Okay, so x acting on a double prime. Okay, this is the modified base vector x a double prime. Now let us change the order. Okay. So when you change the order of the two vectors, what happens? This will become a bra vector. Okay, that means let us take we are taking when this ket vector becomes a bra vector, we are taking basically the adjoint, right? So when you take the adjoint of this ket vector, what happens is this ket a double prime become bra vector a double prime, but there is the operator x here. Okay, then we have to take the adjoint of the operator, so it becomes x dagger, and this bra vector a prime becomes ket vector a prime. Okay, so we have interchanged the vectors. This bra vector becomes the ket vector, so this operator becomes x dagger, and this bra vector, this ket vector becomes bra vector, operator becomes x dagger, and this bra vector becomes ket vector. So when you interchange the two vectors inside as an inner product, then it becomes the complex conjugate of the earlier scalar. Okay, so the result is the complex conjugate of this scalar. Okay, and now okay, this x dagger is operating on the bra vector. Okay, when we have an operator here, normally it is acting on the ket vector, but when you put x dagger here, it is acting on the bra vector. Right. Now I am again writing, instead of it's acting on the bra vector, with this understanding, let us again write it in the middle of the two vectors. So I am writing it like this: a double prime x dagger a prime, with the understanding that this x dagger is now acting on the bra vector. Okay, so we have this result. Let us write it here: a prime x a double prime is equal to a double prime x dagger a prime star. This is a basic result. So what we have done is we have just interchanged the two vectors, but in this process this operator becomes its Hermitian adjoint. Okay. Now let us look at these two. This is a matrix element, this is also a matrix element. Let us compare them. What is this actually? This is what? This is the matrix element of x, operator x in the given basis, ket a prime. And what is this? This is the matrix element of x dagger in the same basis. So this is the matrix element of x, and this is the matrix element of the Hermitian adjoint or Hermitian adjoint of x. Now what is the connection between the two matrix elements? Look at this matrix element, and how is it related to this matrix element? See, the row index here is a prime, it becomes the column index here. The column index here is a double prime, it becomes the row index here. That means if this is ijth element, this is jith element. So what does it mean? The rows and columns are interchanged. That means there is a transposition. Okay, from this matrix to this matrix, rows and columns are interchanged. That means we have to take the transpose. So transpose is taken. And there is also complex conjugate of this scalar. Okay, so transpose plus complex conjugate. That's what the connection between the two matrix elements. From this matrix element, if you take the transpose and then take the complex conjugate, you get this matrix element. Okay, so what is the connection between the operator representation of x and the operator representation of x dagger? From the operator representation of x, if you take the transpose and complex conjugate, you will get complex conjugate of each element. You get the operator representation of x dagger. So Hermitian adjoint means taking the Hermitian adjoint of an operator means that it means that when you take the matrix representation of the operator, then Hermitian adjoint means that you have to take the transpose and complex conjugate. Okay, I think when I introduced Hermitian adjoint, I automatically said adjoint means transpose and complex conjugate. I was referring to, I was speaking in advance, in anticipation of matrix representation. Only after introducing the matrix representation can we say that Hermitian adjoint means transpose and complex conjugate. Okay. One more point regarding Hermitian adjoint is, so what we have just seen is a prime x a double prime equals a double prime x dagger a prime star. Okay, this is the meaning. It means that matrix element of Hermitian adjoint of an operator is transposed and complex conjugate of the matrix element of x. Okay. Now suppose this x is a Hermitian operator. This is applicable for any general operator. Now if x is a Hermitian operator, then we know that x dagger is equal to x. Then what happens to this relation? For a Hermitian operator, we can write a prime x a double prime equals a double prime. X dagger is same as x. So a double prime x a prime star. That's it. So this is a fundamental relation for Hermitian operator that we have seen in the previous class. Okay. And this has a further interpretation is possible. Left hand side I can write as a prime x a double prime, where x is acting on a ket a double prime. Whereas right side I can write as a double prime. Here x is acting on this ket vector, so x a prime star, which means if we interchange the two, we interchange the ket and bra vectors. This ket vector will become bra vector, x becomes x dagger, but x dagger is same as x, so and this bra vector becomes ket vector. So you compare these two. Here x is acting on a double prime, here x is acting on a prime. Okay, so if x is a Hermitian operator, in an inner product it is immaterial whether it acts on the ket vector side or bra vector side. So we can use either this as the definition or this as the definition of Hermitian operator. We have seen this in one of the previous classes. We have discussed this, but let's again stress this in the context of the understanding that taking the Hermitian adjoint means transpose and complex conjugate of the matrix representation. Let the product of two operators is equal to another operator. Okay, x is an operator, y is an operator. You take the product of these two. We consider the action of y and x sequentially. We know that operators act on ket vector from left to right. So y acts on a ket vector, then x acts on the ket vector. So on the modified ket vector. So xy means sequential action of two operators. So let us say that is represented by a single operator set. Now let us ask the question, if we have such a relationship, then what is the matrix representation? How does the matrix representation of Z connected? How is it connected with the matrix representation of x and y? Is there any connection between the matrix representation of x, matrix representation of y, and that of Z? Okay. Okay, now let us do it like this. Take the matrix element of Z like this. A prime, Z, A double prime. Maybe in this case, instead of this prime, I am using the superscript index. It is, let us say, ijth element of Z. Okay, this is the ijth element of Z. This is the ith row and jth column. Okay, so it's the ijth element. So we have taken ijth element of in the matrix of Z. So that is equal to, we know that Z is equal to xy. So instead of Z, I am substituting xy. So we have ai xy aj. Now what I am going to do is, in between this x and y, I am introducing an identity operator, and I am going to use the completeness condition of the base vectors. That is, I am writing it like this: ai x identity operator y aj. And at the position of this identity operator, let me write summation over. Now let us use another index. We have used ai, we have used aj. Here we use, let us say, ak. Okay, summation over ak, ket ak, bra vector ak. Okay, so this stands for this identity operator. This is identity because of the completeness of the base vectors. And then we have y here, and then aj. Let's take the summation symbol outside. So summation over AK. Okay, so what do we have here? Bra vector AI, then operator X, then catch AK. Okay, then here bra vector AK, then we have operator Y, catch AJ. Summation is over AK. Okay. Now let us look at what is this. What is this matrix element? This is in ith row and kth column, right? But at the same time we are summing over AK. This summing over AK means that we are taking 1, 2, 3 up to n. That is, when you take 1, we get A of 1, A of 2, A superscript 1, A superscript 2, A3, A4 up to AN. There are n terms here. So here there is no summation over I. That means I is fixed. This is row index. This is column index. So I is fixed. Ith row, we are in ith row, and we have n terms here. Okay. So in ith row, we are considering the first column, second column, third column, etc. So we are considering the entire ith row. Okay. So we are considering n elements in the ith row. And what about here? Here there is summation over AK, but there is no summation over AJ. That means J is fixed. But the second ket vector on this side, it's a column index. So this is jth column, and we are considering A1, A2, A3 different n elements. So this A1 means jth column, first row, jth column, second row, jth column, third row, jth column. So we are considering all the elements in the jth column. Okay, so this is basically a multiplication of so this means that this matrix element represents n elements of ith row. Here we have n elements of jth column. Okay. So we are multiplying ith row and jth column. All the n elements of ith row we are multiplied with n elements of jth column, element by element. Take the first element in the ith row, multiply with the first element in the jth column. Second element in the ith row, multiply with the second element in the jth column, like that. So ith row is multiplied with jth column in order to get ijth element. So this is ijth element of Z. Ijth matrix element in the matrix representation of Z. So in order to get the ijth element of Z, we are multiplying the ith row of X with the jth column of Y. See, this rule is that of matrix multiplication. So that means the matrix of Z, matrix representation of Z, is obtained by multiplying the matrices of X and Y. Multiplying the matrix representations of X and Y following the matrix, usual matrix multiplication rule. Okay, this particular rule, multiplying ith row of X with the jth column of Y to get ijth element of XY. Okay, it's the same as matrix multiplication rule. So the matrix representation of Z is obtained by taking the product of the matrix representation of X with the matrix representation of Y. Okay, the matrix of an operator is a square matrix. N by in an n-dimensional space, it's an n by n matrix. So this will be an n by n matrix. This will be an n by n matrix. When you multiply two n by n matrices, you get another n by n matrix. So this will also be an n by n matrix. Okay. So this matrix representation of operators ensures that product of two operators can be automatically taken as a product of matrices of individual operators. Let us consider the matrix representation of an operator in its own eigenkets. What is the special way of expressing the operator in its own eigenkets? The base kets are eigenkets of the operator. That means if we have an operator A, then in our base kets A A prime is A prime times A prime. It is this A prime is the eigenvalue and this is the eigenket. Okay. So these eigenkets are, suppose this operator is a Hermitian operator, then these eigenkets form a complete set and they can be used as a base ket of the vector space. So in such a case, what is the representation of the operator? What is the matrix representation of the operator? So let us start with let us say A. As before, I am introducing both sides the identity operator, and instead of the identity operator I am invoking the completeness condition of the base case. So here summation over A prime, ket A prime, bra vector A prime. Okay, and then your operator is here, and instead of this identity, summation over A double prime, ket A double prime, bra vector A double prime. So if we take summations together, ket A prime, bra vector A prime, operator A, ket A double prime, bra vector A double prime. Now look at here. A operating on A double prime. Remember, these base kets are eigenkets of the operator. So A operating on A ket A double prime is simply a scalar A double prime, which is the eigenvalue, times the ket A double prime. Okay, so here I can put that so summation over A prime, A double prime, ket A prime, and here this you can write here A double prime into A prime, where A double prime is a scalar, and this scalar remember this scalar this scalar comes from the ket vector side. Okay, so when you take it outside, there is no change. That is one way of looking at it. Or we can say that these operators are Hermitian operators. Their eigenvalues are real. Okay, so there is no complex conjugation. You can take it outside. So this A double prime comes out. What is remaining? You have bra vector A prime, ket vector A double prime. Okay, as the result of operator A acting on ket A double prime is A double prime times ket A double prime. That A double prime I have taken out. Then only ket A double prime remains here. Then bra vector A prime is also there. Okay. Then finally you have a bra vector A double prime. Now look at here. This is the inner product between two different eigenkets. Okay. They can be same or they can be different. That means A double prime can be equal to A prime, or A double prime can be different from A prime. So these when the inner product between two eigenkets gives you these eigenkets are eigenkets of a Hermitian operator are orthogonal to each other, and you can also normalize them. So this is actually an orthonormality condition, delta A prime A double prime, which this is Kronecker delta. So when a Kronecker delta appears in a summation, then only one term in the summation is non-zero. So you can apply this in the case of either this summation or this summation. Okay, any one summation will go, only one term will remain. So let us take this summation over A double prime. In summation over A double prime, only one term will be non-zero. Which term? All the other terms which is not equal to A prime will vanish, because this Kronecker delta will become 0. So only one term for which A double prime is equal to A prime will be non-zero in this summation. So let us consider, okay, the first summation will remain summation over A prime. Okay, and in this summation you have to put only that term where only that term will be non-zero, where A double prime is equal to A prime. When A double prime is equal to A prime, this term will be delta A prime, which is 1. Okay, so what is the other terms? Already you have an A prime here. Okay, then when this summation over A double prime, this A double prime is equal to A prime, you have to put it here and here also. Okay, this term will be 1. So here you have A prime, and here also you have bra vector A prime. Okay, let me rearrange this as summation over A prime, which is a scalar, a real scalar. Okay, it's an eigenvalue, and this is ket A prime, bra vector A prime. This is matrix A in its own base ket. Okay, this is the projection operator, so you can write it as in this form also, summation over A prime, projection operator A prime into A prime. That also you can write. Or this. So this is a simplified, a simpler form compared to the earlier form that we have seen in a general ket. Okay. Compared to that, here it is still an n by n matrix, because we know that this will be an outer product, and outer product will be an n by n matrix. So this is represented by an n by n matrix, but the format is very simple. That's the idea. So summation over A prime, each eigenvalue multiplied by this projection operator. Okay. You have to sum over all the eigenkets, all the base kets. So this is the form of an operator in its own eigenket. So when eigenkets are acting as base kets, okay, eigenkets as base kets, then they have a particular name. It's called eigenbasis. Eigenbasis. So the form of an operator in its eigenbasis is this.